Welcome, gents. Being single isn't a timeout, it's a power move. When a Sigma male stays single for a long time, most people jump to conclusions. They think he's lonely, stuck, or missing out. But that's just surface noise. The truth is way deeper and way more interesting. The longer a Sigma male is single, the more he's not just existing, he's evolving. He's using that time to sharpen his mind, strengthen his independence, and tune into what truly matters to him. He's not chasing anyone else's timeline or trying to fit into society's mold. Instead, he's crafting a life where he's the one in control. No compromises, no distractions. This kind of solitude isn't about being alone, it's about building a foundation so solid that when he finally does decide to share his life with someone, it's on his terms with zero desperation or fear. So if you're feeling the pressure from family, friends, or even yourself to rush into something just because the clock is ticking, this video is for you. It's about flipping the narrative on being single and seeing it as an opportunity for growth, freedom, and power. Stick around, watch closely, and discover why the longer a Sigma male is single, the more unstoppable he becomes. Trust me, this isn't about loneliness. It's about unleashing a version of yourself that no one can ignore. Let's dive in, gents. Number 1, he starts loving himself in a way no one else can compete with. There comes a point in a Sigma male's solitude where something subtle but powerful happens. He stops tolerating himself and starts genuinely loving himself. Not in an ego-driven, flashy, look how amazing I am kind of way. No, this is deeper, quieter, more real. He's spent enough time with his thoughts, his flaws, his patterns, his breakthroughs. And instead of running from them, he faced them. He worked through the insecurities, questioned the lies he used to believe about himself, and let go of the shame that society loves to hand out to men who don't fit the mold. Now, he walks differently, thinks differently, chooses differently. His self-respect has become untouchable, his self-worth doesn't budge. And his self-acceptance, it's solid, earned, not borrowed. He's no longer looking for someone to complete him. He's not hoping to be saved by love or validated by attention. In fact, he's loving himself in a way that most people can't even understand, with patience, forgiveness, boundaries, discipline, and clarity. So when someone tries to enter his life now, there's a silent but unshakable filter they have to pass through. Is your love better than the one I'm already giving myself? And if it's not, if it's chaotic, manipulative, half-hearted, or draining, he won't even entertain it. Not because he's cold, but because he's calibrated. He's not available for relationships that cost him more than they give. He no longer chases chemistry. He looks for alignment. He no longer fears being alone. He fears being mismatched. He's not trying to be chosen. He's too busy choosing himself. And the moment you start loving yourself on that level, the bar goes sky high and stays there. Because once a Sigma male figures out how to be his own peace, his own protector, and his own provider, the wrong people just stop being an option. Number 2, he's more dangerous than ever to the wrong woman. Most women are used to a certain kind of man, one who wants to impress, who needs approval, who bends just enough to keep the peace, one who plays along with emotional games because he's afraid of losing access, affection, or validation. But the Sigma male, he's a whole different species. And for the wrong woman, that makes him dangerous. He won't chase, flatter, or beg for attention. He doesn't respond to manipulation. He sees through the act immediately. He doesn't care how pretty she is, how popular she is, or how many men want her. If her energy feels controlling, fake, or chaotic, he's already emotionally checked out. And that terrifies women who are used to having power through appearance, drama, or emotional leverage. Because here's the brutal truth. She can't tame a man who's already mastered himself. She tries to push his buttons. He doesn't flinch. She withdraws affection to test him. He gets quieter. She plays hot and cold. He goes cold and stays there. The Sigma male doesn't get pulled into toxic patterns. He doesn't need a relationship enough to tolerate emotional warfare. And he's not afraid to walk away, no matter how intense the chemistry. That's why he's a threat. He doesn't fight for control. He just refuses to give it away. She can't handle that. Not if she's built her whole identity around being wanted or chased. With him, those tricks don't work. And when a woman can't control a man, she often tries to destroy him. But here's what she finds out too late. You can't break a man who is forged in solitude. The Sigma male doesn't lose himself in love, and the moment he senses it's not real, not safe, or not worth it, he doesn't argue, he vanishes. Number 3, he becomes hyper-aware of red flags most miss. When most people fall for someone, they're swept up by charm, flattery, surface-level chemistry, and future potential. They hear what they want to hear and ignore what they should be seeing. But the Sigma male, he's built a different radar, and it's brutally accurate. Because he's spent so much time alone, he's no longer distracted by noise. He's not desperate for company, and he doesn't need emotional validation to feel whole. That means he can actually observe people, really observe them, without bias or hope clouding his judgment. And this is where things get intense. He becomes hyper-aware of red flags most people completely overlook. While others are mesmerized by looks or how someone makes them feel, he's watching the small stuff. How do they treat strangers? Do they talk over people? Do they take accountability, or do they always blame others? Can they sit in silence without needing attention every 5 minutes? These seem like tiny things to most people, but to the Sigma male, they reveal everything. He watches for patterns, not excuses. He picks up on inconsistencies in tone, not just what's said. He notices the quick flashes of entitlement, bitterness, or control that others chalk up to having a bad day. That's because time alone has sharpened his instincts. He's learned to read behavior over promises, energy over effort, character over performance. He doesn't care how well someone plays the game in the beginning. He's watching for who they really are when no one's watching. And once he sees that crack in the mask, he never forgets it. He won't fight about it. He won't try to change you. He'll just start detaching, quietly, permanently. The Sigma male doesn't fall for the show. He waits for the reveal. And when you've trained yourself to sit in solitude, spotting a fraud becomes second nature. Number 4, he becomes the type of man people regret losing. There's a quiet power in being someone people regret losing. And the Sigma male becomes exactly that kind of man, but not by accident. It's the result of years spent mastering himself, sharpening his values, and refusing to settle for less than what he deserves. By the time most people finally see his worth, he's already walked away. Not out of anger, not out of bitterness, just because he's done investing where he's not valued. He's learned that staying in places or with people who don't appreciate him only drains his energy and clouds his peace. And that absence, it hits harder than any argument or fight ever could. It echoes in the quiet moments. It's the emptiness in the spaces where he used to be, the laughter, the support, the calm strength. People wonder why he disappeared, why he stopped answering calls or showing up. They replay moments, realize what they took for granted, and feel a sting of regret. Too late. The Sigma male doesn't linger waiting for apologies or recognition. He moves on silently, firmly, and forever. He doesn't waste time with what-ifs or could-have-beens. He simply chooses to protect his peace above all else. What makes him so unforgettable isn't just what he gave or did, it's who he was. A man who carried himself with quiet confidence, unshakable boundaries, and an undeniable sense of purpose. A man who didn't need anyone to complete him. So when he's gone, the void isn't just about losing a person, it's about losing something rare. A presence that once brought calm to chaos, clarity to confusion, and strength to weakness. And while the world scrambles to fill that space, the Sigma male, he's already moving forward, lighter, stronger, and more unstoppable than ever. Number 5, he evolves into a man who chooses, not settles. The longer a Sigma male stays single, the clearer one thing becomes: he's not here to settle. Forget the idea of finding someone to complete me. That's a fairy tale sold by movies and romantic cliches. He's way past that. Instead, he's evolved into a man who chooses deliberately. He's learned that a partner shouldn't fill a void or patch up a weakness. They should add to his life, not take away from it. No more wasting time on mediocre connections that drain energy, dilute purpose, or bring drama. He's become ruthless with his standards, but not out of arrogance, out of self-respect. He knows what he wants, and more importantly, what he doesn't want. That means no tolerating disrespect, no settling for shallow conversations, and absolutely no sacrificing his peace just to avoid being alone. Every relationship is a choice, not a fallback plan. So when someone shows up, he's not desperate or eager to please. He's watching, testing, feeling out if this person adds value, support, and authenticity. If she subtracts it even just a little, he's gone without looking back. This isn't about being picky. for the sake of it. It's about protecting a life he's built carefully, fiercely, and independently. He's built walls where needed and opened doors where worthiness knocks. The longer he's single, the less likely he is to waste time on average, drama-filled, or energy-sapping relationships. He's not chasing connection, he's demanding quality, because at this point he's not just surviving alone, he's thriving. And if someone wants to be part of that thriving, they have to match his energy, values, and vision. Otherwise, he'd rather be alone forever than settle for less than extraordinary. Number 6. He no longer believes being single is a problem to fix. Most people treat being single like it's some kind of emergency. Like there's a clock ticking, and if you don't find your person by a certain age, you've failed at life. Society loves to push that narrative, that you're supposed to meet someone, settle down, and ride off into the sunset before your 30s expire. But the Sigma male, he doesn't buy it. Not anymore. The longer he stays single, the clearer it becomes. The panic to partner up isn't natural. It's programming. It's pressure. It's everyone repeating a script they didn't even write for themselves. And once he steps outside that pressure cooker, he sees it for what it is. A formula that doesn't fit him. He's not bitter. He's not jaded. He's just not blind. He no longer looks at his relationship status like it's a problem that needs fixing. He doesn't sit around wondering what's wrong with him. He knows exactly what's right with him. And part of that is the fact that he refuses to settle for a relationship that waters him down just to check a box. He doesn't chase love out of fear. He doesn't romanticize codependency. He doesn't feel incomplete without someone on his arm. He's already whole. And that changes everything, because when you stop seeing singleness as a flaw, it becomes freedom. It becomes time to grow, build, heal, explore, and sharpen. It becomes a season of power, not punishment. So while others rush to tie themselves to anyone who gives them attention, the Sigma male waits. Not because he's waiting for someone perfect, but because he refuses to force what isn't real. He's not afraid of being single. He's afraid of losing himself just to avoid it. And that mindset, that's not lonely. That's legendary. Number 7, he reclaims his inner compass. Something powerful happens when a Sigma male spends enough time alone, away from the noise, the opinions, the pressure to impress, and the constant distractions. He starts hearing something he hadn't heard clearly in a long time, his own gut. You see, most people live with a jammed-up signal, friends telling them what to do, social media telling them who to be, family expectations, romantic attachments. It's a mess of mixed messages. And after a while, you stop trusting yourself, because there are just too many voices in your head that aren't yours. But when the Sigma male withdraws, that all goes quiet. No more emotional interference, no more chasing validation, no more asking people for permission to move forward. And in that silence, something sharpens, his inner compass. He starts to remember what he values, what feels right to him, what his instincts have been trying to tell him all along, before he overthought it, explained it away, or let someone talk him out of it. This makes him dangerous in the best way. He's not guessing anymore. He's not second-guessing either. He's moving decisively, with purpose. Whether others get it or not doesn't matter. He doesn't need cheerleaders, and he sure doesn't need permission. He'll cut someone off mid-sentence if his gut says nope. He'll walk away from opportunities that look good but feel wrong. And he'll commit to a path that has no applause, but total alignment. The longer he stays single, the stronger this compass gets. And once it's dialed in, you can't manipulate him with compliments, guilt, status, or attention. He's not led by emotions. He's not led by noise. He's led by truth, his truth. And once a man reclaims that inner compass, he doesn't just navigate life, he owns it. Number 8, he becomes immune to society's timelines. You ever notice how people panic when they hit a certain age and haven't hit the milestones? Marriage by 30, kids by 35, house, dog, matching family pajamas for the holidays. It's like there's this invisible checklist society hands everyone, and if you're not on track, you're falling behind. But the Sigma male, he looks at that checklist and laughs. Why? Because the longer he stays single, the longer he lives on his own term, the more he realizes that the so-called rules are completely made up. Most people don't even want what's on that list. They just feel like they're supposed to. But not him, not anymore. Time alone has rewired his brain. He's thriving outside of the timeline. He's not racing towards some life script that doesn't fit him. He's not anxious about weddings, baby showers, or Instagram anniversaries. He doesn't look at his age and feel panic. He looks at his progress and feels power. Because while others rushed to check boxes, he built depth. He built clarity. He built himself. He's seen what happens when people rush. They marry the wrong person, take the wrong job, build a life that impresses others but empties them inside. He's not interested in that kind of trap, and he's definitely not going to sacrifice his peace just to avoid awkward family questions at Thanksgiving. He'll marry when it's right, not when it's expected. He'll have a family if it aligns, not because he's behind. And if neither happens, he's still winning. Because his life isn't measured in milestones, it's measured in freedom, purpose, and peace. So no, he's not behind, he's ahead, just on a different road. And when you realize that the finish line society pushes you toward isn't even yours to begin with, you stop running their race, and you start owning your pace. Number 9, he gets addicted to his freedom. At first, solitude feels unfamiliar, even for the Sigma male. There's a quiet awkwardness in not having someone to check in with, no plans to be dragged into, no emotional back and forths to juggle. But give it time, and something wild starts to happen. He gets addicted to his freedom. Not the kind of freedom people post about on social media, the fake, curated independence that's really just masked loneliness. No, this is real freedom. The kind where he wakes up every day knowing he answers to no one. No emotional negotiations, no passive-aggressive tension, no need to explain why he's not in the mood to talk. He just lives and it feels good, almost too good. He can train when he wants, work when he wants, travel without asking, build without compromising. He doesn't have to check in, dumb himself down, or explain why his goals matter more than someone else's drama that week. That space gives him momentum. He gets more done in 1 month alone than most people get done in a year of being in love. His mind clears, his ambition sharpens, his energy stops being scattered. It starts stacking, and then it clicks. He doesn't miss the old routine of bending, shrinking, or constantly explaining himself. He doesn't miss the late-night arguments, the expectations, or the silent treatments. What he has now, it's rare, it's powerful, it's pure. So yeah, the longer he's single, the more addicted he gets to that feeling. That control, that clarity, that peace. And it makes it very hard for someone new to come in and shake that up, because they're not just competing with being alone, they're competing with freedom. And once the Sigma male tastes that, he's not letting it go for just anyone. And number 10, he develops an unreasonable standard for peace. When you've spent enough time alone, real time, not just being single while still emotionally tangled, something big happens. You start to protect your peace like your life depends on it. And for the Sigma male, that peace, it becomes sacred, unshakable, non-negotiable. He's not just sitting around lonely. He's spent months, maybe years, learning how to function in silence. He's built routines that keep him grounded. He's faced his inner demons. He's quieted the noise. And now that he knows what real inner calm feels like, he refuses to go back to chaos. That means one thing: if you bring drama, emotional roller coasters, or any form of unnecessary chaos into his life, he's gone. No yelling, no long explanations, no emotional wrestling matches, just silence, just distance, just gone. Because when you've trained your nervous system to live in stillness, you can feel even the slightest disturbance, a weird tone, passive-aggressive energy, games, emotional messiness disguised as passion. Most people might let it slide. The Sigma male won't. He's not rude, he's clear, he's not cold, he's controlled. And he doesn't stick around to fix what clearly isn't his problem. To others, it might seem like he's being extreme. He cut her off just because she was moody. No. He cut her off because he knows where moodiness leads. He's seen what it does to peace, progress, and self-respect. That's what makes him so different. He's not chasing chemistry. He's not hoping for potential. He's measuring everything against the standard he's built in solitude, and if it doesn't match, it doesn't stay. He'd rather be alone in total peace than surrounded in chaos with company. And once you get a taste of that kind of freedom, it's not just a preference. It becomes law. Number 11. He stops being afraid to outgrow people. Most people hold on to relationships out of guilt, nostalgia, or fear of being alone. They keep people around who've long expired in their lives just because of shared history, convenience, or emotional comfort. But the Sigma male, he's built differently. Time alone sharpens his awareness. The silence gives him room to see people clearly, without the noise, the pressure, or the emotional fog that usually clouds judgment. And in that clarity, he starts to notice who's actually adding to his life and who's just taking up space. He sees who drains his energy with endless drama, who stagnates his growth with small talk and small minds, who distracts him with empty validation and shallow connection. And once he sees it, he can't unsee it. That's when the shift happens. He stops being afraid to outgrow people, the emotional attachment that used to keep him tethered, gone, the fear of hurting feelings or rocking the boat, replaced by a deep loyalty to his peace and purpose. He doesn't make a scene. He doesn't announce his exit. He just stops showing up. The calls slow down. The energy pulls back. The connection quietly dies. And by the time the other person realizes it, the Sigma male has already left the building. Ruthless? Maybe. Necessary? Absolutely, because he understands this truth. Not everyone is meant to go where he's going, and the longer he stays single, the more he values alignment over attachment. He's not here to carry dead weight. He's here to grow. And if someone can't grow with him, they won't grow next to him either. When he cuts you off, it's not out of hate, it's out of evolution. In final words, sometimes being alone is the loudest way to say, I'm still building myself. The longer a Sigma male stays single, the more he's not just waiting for something to happen. He's making something happen. He's turning solitude into strength, silence into clarity, and independence into power. This isn't about loneliness or missing out. It's about crafting a life that doesn't need approval or validation from anyone else. If you're watching this and feeling pressured to rush into something just because of age, society, or fear of being alone, take a breath. There's no shame in walking your own path at your own pace. In fact, that's where real growth happens. The kind of growth that builds unshakable confidence and attracts the right people, not just anyone. So instead of fearing being single, use it, own it. Let it be your secret weapon. Because when you do, you don't just survive, you thrive. And when you finally decide to share your life, it won't be because you're filling a void, but because you're adding to an already full and fierce story. This isn't a journey for the faint-hearted. It's for those ready to be their own foundation before building with anyone else. If you want to understand exactly how a Sigma male transforms his single time into unmatched power, purpose, and peace, watch the full video. It's time to flip the script and see why being single isn't a setback, but a serious advantage. Don't just settle for being alone. Become unstoppable. Thank you for watching, gents, and God bless you.